All right. I just realized that the live stream weren't going. All right. I apologize. I just started now. It said start going. Start going. All right, but we still in the first and second verse of 1 Esdras, the 6th chapter. All right, so let's continue on. What verse we in? Verse 3?
Yes, verse 3. Ezra 5:3. At the same time,
No, no. I'm gonna read now. I'm back. We back into your pocket.
I'm very sorry. You want to take your seat? No, not no.
No, he didn't know. He thought he's reading. So 6 and verse 3, it says, at the same time came unto them Cecinus, the governor of Syria, and Phoenice, with how do you say that? Saphrabusanes, and his companion, and said unto them, by whose appointment do ye build this house and this roof, and perform all the other things? And who are the workmen that perform these things? Because Darius was dedicated to continue, yes, to continue the architecture that they were building, not only in Persia, in neighboring cities around Persia, but any artifact that any countries around wanted to build, which in league with them, they would let them continue. This is called what we call today foreign relation. Right? You had foreign relation with a neighboring country because you live in on earth with other people. Mm-hmm. Even though we are the Israelite, you still have the other nation around. They are not our people, but you still have to live among them too. Right? So it's good that we have the Bible to know who they are and how they are. So when we are around them, we know what to do and what not to do. Right? But we still keep our custom and do what we got to do to serve the Most High. So in the same fashion, to cohabitate, one government will rise up, some government will be against us, and some government will let us go and do what we got to do. Right? So in the sense of letting us build the temple, is they want to promote good relation with us. In Darius in that sense. Right, right. Some will be in opposition, some will let us go. Some will let us do it. Right? And there's every kingdom that rise up, they have a different set of policies in terms of foreign relation. They have a different way to deal with foreign relation. Just like we see in modern day time, Trump has a way to deal with other countries. Where Obama was in power, he has a way of dealing with the country. So he wants to outdo what Obama did so he can put his. Another government gonna come up and gonna try to do the exact same thing. Some will be in league with what one country is doing. Some will not be in league, right? So it's a different way of conducting foreign relations.
Something like way Obama did, something like
Con. All right, continue on. It says, verse 4, I'm sorry, verse 5 is a net. Nevertheless, the elders of the Jews obtained favor because the Lord had visited the captivity. So in all, the Most High always has his hand on everything, right? So he preserved the elders. And they were not hindered from building until such time as signification was given unto Darius concerning them. So now they went to Darius and complained, right? But they did not stop doing what they got to do. And an answer received. The copy of the letter which Sisines, governor of Syria and Phoenice and Central Bosnies, with their companions, rulers in Syria and Phoenice, wrote and sent unto Darius, to King Darius, greeting. Let all things be known unto our Lord the King, that being come into the country of Judea and enter into the city of Jerusalem, we found in the city of Jerusalem the ancient of the Jews that were of the captivity, building a house unto the Lord, great and new, of hewn and costly stones. So if we were in captivity, right, they say, how do the captives find all these things and building such a great monument? And they're supposed to be captive. They're supposed to be subjects. But in a sense, to keep, foreign relation going, Darius allows that to happen, right? What they would call religious tolerance, right? He let that happen. So, verse 10, he says, and those works are done with great speed. And they were astonished at the speed, right? People do it because they see that there's a sense of urgency to get it done. Every time they get a chance, the Most High would help them because they know at any time it can stop. So whenever they think they have the time to put some work in, they do it as fast as possible. It says speed, and the work goeth on, and the work goeth on prosperously in their hands. So we know that the Most High had his hand in it, as always, right? Because the work went on prosperously in their hands. Right. And with all glory and diligence it is made. Then asked we these elders, saying, by whose commandment build ye this house? So they given Darius a report, what they asked, the question they asked. So they went and petitioned to the king. And lay the foundations of these works. Therefore, to the intent that we might give knowledge unto thee by writing, we demanded of them who were the chief doers. So now they want to find out not only who's doing it, who's the chief doers, who's the engineer. Yeah, who's the engineer, who's the architect behind this. And we require of them the names and writing of their principal men. So we want to know the bosses, the people behind this, the principal men, the architect, the engineer, right? The people that handled this project. So they gave us this answer. We are the servants of the Lord, which made heaven and earth. They said, no, that's what the workers that were working at the building, the servants of the Most High, that's what they answered them. Because they wanted to have everything documented, their names, right? They wanted to get their name, because usually if you're going to get rid of a nation, you need the name of the people who are important, right? You can use the subject to do menial jobs, but you can use the intellect of the people, the prominent people in that kingdom, to help your kingdom.
Right.
Right.
Right? So you don't want to get rid of them because that's human capital come in.
Yeah.
Right. Taskmasters. Right? Because that's the best resources is human resources. The best resources is human. Regardless of money, the best resources still remain human resources. Because to build anything, you need able men with wits, to make things happen. You can have the money, but if you don't have people with the ideas who can make things happen, your money will not profit you much. So it says, therefore, verse 14, and as for this house, and as for this house, it was built many years ago by a king of Israel, great and strong, and was finished. But when our father provoked God unto wrath and sinned against the Lord of Israel, which is in heaven. So now this is the work is the servant of the Lord giving them information. You see, what you saw here, it was already put together, but it was taken down when we broke the law of the Most High, and it was destroyed. Right? This is when our temple was destroyed. Okay. Right. And it says, but when our fathers provoked God unto wrath and sinned against the Lord of Israel, which is in heaven, he gave them over into the power of Nebuchadnezzar. You remember when we got taken over, right? By the Babylonian king of Babylon of the Chaldees. All right. So when the Babylonian came and took us over, they ransacked the temple and destroyed it, and by fire. Now we went into captivity. Before. Right.
It's the first time.
So it says, verse 16, who pulled down the house and burned it and carried away the people captive unto Babylon. But in the first year that King Cyrus reigned over the country of Babylon, Cyrus the king wrote to build up this house. Okay. And the holy vessels of gold and of silver. So now they're giving them the history of what happened to us in our temple. And the holy vessels of gold and of silver that Nebuchadnezzar had carried away out of the house at Jerusalem. Okay. And had set them in his own temple. Those Cyrus, the king, brought forth again out of the temple at Babylon. And they were delivered to Zerubbabel and to Sennacherib, the ruler, with commandment that he should carry away the same vessels and put them in the temple at Jerusalem, and that the temple of the Lord should be built in its place. Then the same Sennacherib, being come hither, laid the foundation of the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, and from that time to this being still a building, it is not yet fully ended. So now you see the process. The foundation was laid during Cyrus' time. Then there was a continuing process, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, from the same reasons that I mentioned earlier, right? Problem with this government, stop it, then go again. Where we are now?
21.
21. Now therefore, if it seem good unto the king, let such be made among the second the records of King Cyrus. Right? So like they demand, let's go research what they have told us, if that's true. Let's go in Cyrus recollection, records, archive, to find out if what he's talking about, what the people talking about, is true. And if it be found that the building of the house of the Lord at Jerusalem have been done with the consent of King Cyrus, and if our Lord the king be so minded, let him signify unto us thereof. So pretty much like we have today. They say, okay, where's your permit? You building something and you building a property, then all of a sudden you have the inspectors drove by. They said, hey, what's going on here? What's going on? What are you guys doing? Let me see your permit. Yeah, let me see your architectural permit. Let me see your stuff. Because this right here, you got to have zoning to be in that area. This is a historic area. We'll give you permission to build here. Right? So these were the people playing the inspectors back then.
Yep.
Right? So they said, if there was such an architecture in this area, if there's a history there that need to be preserved, let's go back in the records and see, if that's okay. And if it's there, then the king wants that to happen. Since he's the king now, Darius, then let him signify and give him the okay to continue the project. Because maybe Darius might have, different ideas for that land over here, for that, for that area. So let's see if that's the case and let it continue. Right? Because once you are, being, when you're a king, you want to make sure that you have control over whatever's going on. If an architecture is being, erected in the area or in another city, you want to know about it. You don't want anything being built and you're a king and you don't know what's going on. What if they build a high tower to shoot your kingdom down?
Right.
So you have, for a matter of security reason, you need to protect your borders, especially if you know how to conquer other cities, right? So they have to follow protocol. But in our case, we doing a house for the Lord, not to attack anybody, right? In verse 23, then commanded King Darius to seek among the records at Babylon, and saw at Ecbatana the palace, which is in the country of Media, there was found a roll wherein these things were recorded. So there was the architecture, there was the work, right? And the records, they rolled the records and they found everything that the servant of the Lord were saying and doing, they were true. Right? So now, in the first year of the reign of Cyrus, King Cyrus commanded that the house of the Lord at Jerusalem should be built again. So it's sort of like when a kingdom changed from one hand to another, a good king or a sensible king will continue some of the projects that are good, right? They will make changes to those that are not good and improve on and come up with new innovation. So now let's see, after they see the record was there, what happened. It says at Jerusalem should be built again, where they sow sacrifice with continual fire, whose height shall be 60 cubits. So now they're given the architectural, the layout,
Right.
Blueprint.
the blueprint. Be 60 cubits. But now we're seeing that they reading the records. They reading the records, Cyrus records, right? That they wanted to find out. 60 cubits, and the breadth 60 cubits, with 3 rows, right? 1 second. Check the live stream, make sure we good. Okay. All right. All right, let's read on the blueprint. It says 60 cubit, and the breadth 60 cubits, with 3 rows of hewn stones, and 1 rows of hewn wood of that country, and the expenses thereof to be given out of the house of King Cyrus. So the expense to build, the budget for building the temple should be coming from the king's expense. They will cover the expense, right? And that the holy vessels of the house of the Lord, both of gold and silver, that Nebuchadnezzar took out of the house at Jerusalem and brought to Babylon, should be restored to the house at Jerusalem and be set in the place where they were before, right? So restore back to their place. And also he commanded that Sisines, the governor of Syria and Phoenice, and Satrabosines and their companion, and those which were appointed rulers in Syria and Phoenice, should be careful not to meddle with the place, but suffer Zerubbabel, the servant of the Lord, and governors of Judea, and the elders of the Jews, to build the house of the Lord in that place. So specific instructions were given to the people round about to not mess with the building of the temple. Right, so all that was put in the record. It says, I have committed also to have it built up whole again, and that they look diligently to help those that be of the captivity of the Jews, those who were exiled into Babylon, till the house of the Lord be finished. So now keep in mind, as we were saying earlier, you see all the people with skills, they take them captive into Babylon. But a lot of our people who are not so skilled got killed there, right? But they take those who are skillful and exile into Babylon because there's use for them.
The ones that didn't have no skill, they killed them.
Right. Most likely, if you don't have the masses will be annihilated. But the people with skills, you need them because this is good. Yeah, this is human. You keep the human capital. The people with skills, the taskmaster.
Right.
And out of the tribute of Seleucia, and finish a portion carefully to be given these men for the sacrifices of the Lord. That is, to Zerubbabel the governor, for bullocks and rams and lambs. So taxes, money, were supposed to be given to the Jews for the sacrifice. So a budget must be set aside for us to continue covering the cost of the bullocks, right, to offer sacrifices to the Most High.
Right.
And also corn, salt, wine, and oil, and that continually every year without further question. Right?
Right.
Without any further question, any amendment in any question whatsoever.
Right.
According as the priests that be in Jerusalem shall signify to be daily spent. So it was the priest's prerogative to decide the budget, how much should be spent. If the budget is sent to the people, and the priest sign over it, no questions asked, just hand over the money.
Hand it over.
I need $50,000 from the bank. Hey,
That's it.
I got to build a house for the Lord.
Right. And also the activities that need to be done, the sacrifices, is the budget for it. We need this amount.
I need some lambs, some goats.
Right.
Matter of fact, give me another $100.
Right. No, actually, what happened is you would outline everything. We need 100 lambs, 50, goats,
Right.
wine.
Right.
So you have a list, right? In your appendix, you have your budget, your expenses,
Right.
and then you sign it. It's a budget.
And you go to work.
Right. That's your budget, and then they give it.
No.
Sign off, and then send it over.
Right.
Let's read more on what they would need. It says corn, salt, wine, and oil, and that continue every year without further question, according as the priests that be in Jerusalem shall signify to be daily spent. That offering may be made to the Most High God for the king and for his children, and that they may pray for their lives. All that is put there. And he commanded that whosoever should transgress, yea, or make light of anything afore spoken or written out of his own house, should a tree be taken. Let's read it again. Let's read it again.
Tree out of his yard and hang it. Go ahead.
All right, it says, or make light of anything aforespoken. Everything that we just outlined, that was written to be done. It says, if anyone violate that order out of his own thing, out of his own house, should a tree be taken, and he thereon be hanged. It was capital punishment. If you mess with this right here, you should be hanged on a tree.
Pay the price.
Right. Question.
With that last statement you made, then those Africans who offered to help them, they may have been serious about helping them. Then What do you think? Because those days have been killed, right?
No, what happened is they could have been killed because not only that, the Most High wanted his people and nobody else to build his house. Now, keep in mind, let's get a spiritual perspective of it. Us, as the temple of the Most High, that's why we shouldn't be mixing with the nations.
Bingo. Yeah.
Spiritually, we shouldn't be mixing with the other nations spiritually because we are the temple of the Most High. So if we are building a house, we should not let other doctrine of the other nation coming into our doctrine spiritually.
Anyway, didn't they require?
So the temple itself, as we look at it, is not just the temple. It was supposed to signify us, not the building.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why if the temple is being built, it's supposed to build specifically to the T how the Most High wanted, just how the Most High wants us to be built spiritually, how He wants us to be built,
Right.
without anyone interference or anyone meddle in our spirituality.
They broke the rules anyway, didn't they?
Who? I mean, we always break the rule. So we're talking about how the Most High wants His house to be built, the temple, without anybody's interference.
Okay.
It's the same if somebody come in here and say, man, you see this Bible right here? You shouldn't be reading it like that. And then he's a heathen. You say, get away from me because you don't know this book. You don't know this book. You can't tell me how I should be keeping this book. I should be telling you because the Most High is dealing with us.
Right.
Right? So because now we are the temple of the Most High. The Most High give us instruction how He wants us to be.
Right.
But outsiders cannot come in and say, let me show you how you should be.
Right.
So sitting, listening to Esau teaching you, listen to the African teaching you, that's allowing them to meddle into building your temple. Right now, because we are the temple of the Most High, and we are being built by spiritual food. So if we allow them to teach us, which means we allow them to meddle into building our temple, just contrary to what the Most High wants us to do. So that's why our people, they didn't want anybody to deal with building the temple.
Right.
I got somebody wish he was sitting right here.
Because the Most High wanted a certain way, that's what He wanted to go.
Right. And He wants His people to do it.
Right.
Because He says in Matthew, I have not dealt so with any nation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if anybody would mess with that, that's a sin worthy to be hanged.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way we mess with other doctrine, we sin to be put to death.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, we are sin to be put to death by the Most High. Because we are the actual temple of the Most High. The temple that is built with stones and precious metal, supposed to signify a man of Israel, how we should be built. Men and women of Israel, how we should be built, a nation. Verse 33. The Lord, therefore, whose name is there, call upon. He said, the Lord, therefore, whose name is there, call upon, utterly destroy every king and nation that stretcheth out his hand to hinder or in damage that house of the Lord in Jerusalem. So parallel that to us again.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that mess with the children of the Most High, the Most High will get you.
Mm-hmm.
So think about what will come to the nations in Esau that mess with us and bring us into slavery. It says the same thing. Woe unto him that took these people into captivity. The same thing that he told Judas. It is if this man, it wouldn't be better if this person had not been done. So that's Esau and the other nations who messed with us and took us into captivity. He that leadeth into captivity must go into shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Woe unto Esau and the other nations that mess with us. So this is our patience and hope. It says, I, Darius, the king, have ordained that according unto these things it be done with diligence. So he wants to preserve his kingdom. He followed the ordinance because he said the Most High had get rid of kings who mess with these people. Right. So I, King Darius, I don't want to mess with these people. Let them go on about their business. Right?
Right.
So this is it here with King Darius. So let's read the scripture real fast. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15:2. Go ahead. And Brother Gubar, when you get it, Baba Kushal, you can read it. 1 Corinthians 15:2.
Everybody got it? Say God.
Man, you don't have Roman numerals today?
No, I got my bro Bible.
Yeah, he's fast. He already got it.
The Roman numerals or something. I ain't seen him in a minute.
He had the mobile here.
That it I'm looking for. Sorry. 15.
Hold up. Stop a while.
Let me make sure.
Oh, we got to change.
Yeah, I'm about to change it.
Okay.
15 and 24.
24.
You said 4 and 22.
That's all.
That's all. Couple more verses there.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Done.
1 Corinthians 15:24.
Mm-hmm.
Then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to God,
Mm-hmm.
even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power.
That's it. So the time will come where there won't be succession of kingdoms and kingdoms again. All that thing will be stopped. It's all be over with. Done. Done. Game over. If you didn't get the kingdom then, that's it. The hope of getting kingdoms is done.
End of story.
End of the story.
Right.
So right now you have Republican, Democrat, Communists, and this, that,
Right, they will go
That's
away.
why we'll get no news and stuff.
Yeah, you
don't do away all that.
Right, you have all of these things, kingdom, you have the Shiites, you have you have the Muslim fighting, and you have the Iran, Emirate, you have all these kingdoms, my kingdom is better than your kingdom.
Yeah.
World War III, we gotta take you down and take the kingdom. It's gonna be done. Over with.
Right.
Hey, y'all, that's still
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 8. Ecclesiastes in the Bible.
Bible?
Right, Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes. Cuss is the father. Cuss.
That's why you see everyone is trying to get a piece while they can.
Right.
It's a rush out there. Right. Right. Right.
What you say? What was it? Ecclesiastes what?
Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 8. And Brother Yeshaya, you can read it when you have it.
Go ahead. Yeah. Well, that's one of the words. Yeah. Hold up. And you read that paper good, that's why I come up and read mine. But why? The Hebrews there. Okay.
Gun.
Okay, not to be, sir. Yeah.
Gun.
Go ahead.
That thy garments be always white, let thy head lack no ointment.
Is that it? Ecclesiastes?
Wrong, brother, in the wrong area.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 8. What do you read?
Get fair, brother.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 8. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it. Whoso breaketh a hedge, a serpent shall bite.
All right. So the other nations in Esau, they digging their holes. They digging their holes and they don't even know it. Because now the holes is so deep they can't come out. They've been building that hole for generations. Imagine how you're gonna come out. So now Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. The same, almost the same verse, right?
Now you want to do Ecclesiastes, man?
Uh-huh. Yes. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, fine.
Are we okay on the live stream?
No one sent a message to my phone that you know that you guys are on.
We got a what?
No one sent a message. You know how you normally send a message to join the class
Uh-huh.
onto the phone?
You didn't get it?
I did. I know.
Did anybody get the link?
What link?
Those of you who received the link for the live stream, did anybody receive it this morning?
Oh, we know just to come.
Let me see.
That's unusual.
Let me see if I even sent it. Yeah, I did send it to yeah, I sent it to Kahan Nabia. I don't know if he got it or maybe if he's having issues with his phone.
Maybe they didn't have an issue before I just showing up didn't get it. That's why I said, well, let me go on and call on the phone. and whatnot.
Did the right thing, Quan.
I'm glad I called on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Let me send it again.
Wow. Wow.
Bear with us, those watching on the live stream, if it went out. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I received it.
You got two countries. Block.
Anybody else received the link? Yeah.
My phone is off.
No, you could put it on silence. Gabar, did you receive it as usual?
Oh, shit. No, I ain't get the link. Oh, you sent the link? I thought Naviar sent the link, but no, I ain't get.
Yeah, I didn't get the link either.
Naviar sent the link out? You sent it out?
Actually, Nabi, I sent it out.
No, it ain't come out. It ain't come out.
I got it on YouTube before.
You got it?
I got it on YouTube, yeah, but I didn't get the message to my phone saying that y'all started the class. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but you got it on YouTube now.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
No, he had to start making wrong.
Oh, wait.
Not the Bible, right?
That's unusual request.
Yeah. All right. So hopefully we get it situated, because we just finished the chapter 34. I mean chapter 6. We just finished chapter 6 in the 34th verse.
What time did y'all start the class?
We started. It was around close to 11, 10:45. Around 10:45.
Okay, well, we never got the message through the phone saying the class was getting ready to start.
Right. So let me give you the scriptures that we pulled. There ain't that many scriptures.
Right.
It's the first one was 1 Corinthians 15:24.
That's the first verse?
Yeah, that was the first verse, yes.
Right. Could repeat that again?
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 24.
Fine.
Ecclesiastes 10 in verse 8.
Right.
10 and 8.
Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8.
Oh, Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. Okay.
Yeah, both Ecclesiastes 10 and 8 and Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8.
Okay. Fine.
And as far as on my end, the live stream is going fine.
Yeah.
But you on YouTube, is it going well?
Kind of, it's going well. Like I said, we just didn't get the message.
Get the link.
The class started. That's
Okay.
all.
All right.
As long as when we get the message that the class started, put on it and we go straight to YouTube.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The water.
All right. I in the bar. I in the bar. It's a lot for what happened, because I'm not sure, you know. All right, so that concludes chapter 6.
Right.
We're gonna take a brief recess.
Right.
We will reconvene at 1:01.
Oh, one.
01. All right.
Oh, one.
Go on.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.